Welcome to Inside City Hall. I'm your host, Mayor Darrell Seymore, and our guest today is Shane Hemesath, the City Engineer for the City of Show Low. Welcome, Shane.
It's good to be here, Mayor.
Good to have you again.
Yeah.
How's life treating you?
Good, keeping busy.
That's awesome, awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about a project we've been working on most of summer down here, close to the library and City Hall, and it's also some of our extension of our not Main Street, but this corridor down around City Hall. Why don't you kind of share a little bit what we have done and what, if this is the end of it or if we got some other scope going forward.
You bet. The project downtown here was called the Old Downtown Pedestrian Enhancement Project. It was actually a grant that was awarded to the city, federal money, administered through ADOT. The scope of the improvements were to continue the same theme that you mentioned of the lighting, the parking, and the sidewalk improvements we have downtown here. So we have additional parking, paved parking, ADA ramps, new sidewalk for pedestrians, pedestrian lighting. You saw the lights go up, and the trees finally got planted a couple weeks ago as well. So kind of just enhance the downtown, allow a lot of pedestrian activity down here. And so that happened on 9th Street between, Huning and McNeil. And then it also did half of a hall, improvements half a hall from 8th to 9th Street as well. And with that grant money, we were able to do those sections of improvements.
Okay, now we talked that it's a federal grant, but it's administered by ADOT.
That's correct.
And so the city, we have very little control over it, but
it can be frustrating.
We just kind of do the inspections and process as well.
You bet. It can be a challenge with these federal projects because they're required to be administered through ADOT. So ADOT handles the design of them. We get to have some input during the design, but they end up bidding the work, awarding the work to a contractor, and we watch them basically administer the construction of that. Right. We are invited to the meetings. We kind of definitely oversee and inspect the project as it happens, try to make corrections that kind of fit the city's needs. Anytime you're dealing with federal money, there's definitely some additional layers of oversight that has to happen, and it can be a little challenging, but we look to make it a good improvement. You know,
we're grateful to have the federal money to be able to do the project. It's unfortunate with all of the red tape. Otherwise, we could do about 1.5 or double almost if we were just administering it ourselves and directly putting it out for bid. But there's those different, pay scales and everything that has to follow the federal and the state levels when they do it.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, it kind of extends the duration of a project. is pretty common with those federal jobs as well. But yeah, we are thankful for the grant, and we'll apply that any chance we can.
I think one of the things that's going to help with safety. I know we're starting to get a sidewalk through there. The next thing would be to extend that sidewalk a little further up towards Nicholas Homestead, so that we do have sidewalks all the way through that pedestrian area there. But just that curve and making that curve a little bit wider, and it's also enhanced some local businesses in our community, although they have had to suffer through the construction phase of it, and it's been challenging for them, but it's definitely made their businesses more attractive.
Well, their frontages are definitely got spruced up a little bit, but they did have to endure the construction process, which is never a good or fun time, but I think the end product is really going to be something that's going to benefit them as well. You speak of safety, and that's definitely the case. There was no curb downtown. Now we have curbs to kind of separate and help keep the vehicular traffic in the road and let the pedestrians be a little safer as well. And that actually kind of bleeds over to the other project going on downtown, the East Huning and 11th Street Box Culvert project, the big drainage project. That intersection, if you wanted to walk through that intersection as a pedestrian, you had to walk in the lane to get around because there was no access. So that's another area where we're adding some sidewalk and some pedestrian safety as well.
So when is that project there going to be completed in comparison? Let's just kind of, what do we anticipate the completion of this project as well? The
old downtown project in front of the City Hall area and 9th and Hall, that one's supposed to wrap up in a couple weeks, about middle of October. The Box Culvert project, the East Huning and 11th Street, they're probably about into the end of November by the time they're wrapping up. And they're really hoping to not make it a two-season project and have to go into winter shutdown. They really want to get everything in, get asphalt down and concrete down before the winter hits. So they'll probably be in there until the end of November.
We had to have this other project so far along before they could go in, and because of grades or different things there. Is that correct? Or what did we had to wait a little while for that box culvert project? We did some work, then we had to pull off and then go forward there. Let's explain that a little bit.
We were hoping to definitely award that work much easier or earlier in the year. ADOT put it on hold and wouldn't award it or advertise the work until we had all the utilities relocated. The big one was the sewer main, and so we had to drop the sewer main and move it so it wasn't in conflict. And so they held the project until it was completed, and then they allowed it to move forward. And even when we were working on the sewer, they wouldn't even advertise it at that point. So we wish they would have sped it up a little bit more, but we're glad it got done this fall. And that's actually a federal job that we were able to work with our friends at NACOG and actually move it up a year because we were ready with the design. And it's kind of rare with a federal job to accelerate it, but we accelerated it to make it happen because the funding was available and we were ready for it.
That's great. I just think that's going to finish, won't be finished yet, but it will definitely enhance this area much better. Parking, like you've said, that's going to enhance our parking area. You know, our little place that we have for the Veterans Memorial that we have down here, some of the other activities, the Spook Festival that we have. Well, as people congregate down in this area, it's going to be a lot nicer going forward. Nicer
and safer. And I think there's definitely some other opportunities in other areas we can continue to expand those improvements, but finishing up that 9th Street corridor pretty much all the way through downtown, I think was a good first step.
Right. Yeah. Now we've planted some trees and some shrubbery and some things along there, and I know one of the questions that have come up, we also cut some big trees down. But I think kind of explain what we found when we got into some of those bigger trees.
Those bigger trees were very old, and one of them was dead, and one of them was dying, and they were becoming very unsafe. And there was a lot of weak spots in some areas in the trees that, when we had them evaluated, it was very clear that they were not safe to leave hanging over parking areas or pedestrian areas, and so we had to remove them. But good news is we got to put a couple beautiful maples back, I think, in the same place. So
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Now there were some ditch issues as well, irrigation and things that we had to work through there. How has that ended up?
We actually, any irrigation pipe that we removed, we put back in place. And our goal with the irrigation is always just to leave the irrigation, even though it kind of shares purposes sometimes with street drainage and things like that. Our goal is to always maintain the irrigation the way it is, so the irrigation customers can continue to get their water, and that's important to them. And so, yeah, we've definitely had to make a few changes here and there to keep that the way it needs to be, and that's always a challenge, but we made it happen, great. I think, yeah.
Well, I just encourage people to come down in a couple of weeks. It's going to be, greatly enhanced, greatly beautified, and as we said, also a lot safer. And we appreciate you being there probably almost every day or every other day, checking up on it, walking through some of the things that had to happen and make happen, but appreciate what you do. Share with us a little more just your role as, an engineer, city engineer. What is it that you're over, and day-to-day process? What is it like in the day of a city engineer?
Yeah, you bet. Well, kind of overseeing the engineering department, and within the engineering department, I have myself. I have a designer, an engineer technician that kind of works on designs for certain projects and kind of helps me out laying out designs for whatever improvements we're doing. I have a construction inspector who kind of is my eyes out in the field, who's kind of out there definitely keeping eyes on what's being built and make sure it's built right and testing, things along those lines. We also have the GIS in the engineering department as well, and Rob Jones is our GIS manager, and he handles all of our mapping, all of our GIS asset management, which is a great tool. As the city engineer, I help oversee the CIP program. It's our capital improvement program. Every year after the budget's approved, we see what has been funded, and then we start right away on getting what has been funded built. And so we'll put designs together, some in-house. Sometimes we contract other engineers to help us design them, and then we bid them, we oversee the construction of them, and that's pretty much the main gist. Of course, there's a lot of other stuff like floodplain management and other things along those lines, but
in a city our size, it's important to have some of that work done in-house. We obviously could could have it done outside, but would be at the time constraints of other things. And maybe there's just a little project, like I know we're working on some drainage at one of our parks. And so we've got to design something to make sure that it works or the correct way of how we're working in that drainage to be efficient when we're done. You know, we could go out there and eyeball it and try to make it happen, and sometimes I would spend more money that way. So, you know, those are little things that we don't necessarily as a public understand, but anytime that you're working on roads, they've got to be, it's the flow of traffic, it's the flow of pedestrian as well as the actual traffic, and then it's also the flow of utilities. There's water lines, there's sewer lines, there's electrical lines. All of those things have to work so that when we're the final project that we don't even have to think twice about. So
Absolutely.
you probably drive home at night and go, wow, we need to change this, we need to change that.
We're staring at
we don't even
cracks in
see
the
that
road.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Definitely.
That's great. Well, Shane, I appreciate you being with us today. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I think that's about it. Well, there's a couple sewer projects you'll see us, kicking off here in the next couple weeks. That's kind of our fall push as 2 main sewer projects. I believe we're going to do a little sidewalk work around town. We haven't had that funded in a while. We're really excited that got funded. So you'll see some new sidewalks going in, and that's it. We'll keep them busy. We'll go into design mode in the wintertime and be back at it in spring. So.
All right. Well, appreciate it. Well, thanks so much.
You bet.
Stay tuned for the next segment of Inside City Hall, where we will have the Business Development Coordinator, Steve North, talking about the upcoming Spooktacular event. Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Our next guest is Steve North, the Business Development Coordinator with the city. Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have
Glad
you
to
with
be
us
here.
again today. It's October, can you believe that?
I know. Where'd the summer go?
It's gone, it's gone. We're trying to catch up, and fall is here, it's in the air and everything else. It's
a little bit of the
fantastic.
monsoon hanging on, but we're happy about that. But,
Yeah, we'll take that anytime.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about some events that we have coming up. I know one real briefly here. It's going to be just kind of the first part of October. We won't have a lot of time to get the word out, but we do have a geocaching regional event that's going to take place over at the Dome. You want to share just briefly about that event?
Yeah, it's kind of a wrap-up celebration of the, it's been a several-month process, geocache event. We've had a number of cities involved in the area. And of course the idea was people who geocache, we had different geocaches, I guess they call them, scattered around different areas of the White Mountains, and we had people from all over the country, even all over the world, come in and find those geocaches they were checking in and for prizes.
Right.
And so this is kind of a celebration at the end of the event over at the Round Valley Dome, Saturday, October 8th. All-day event. I don't think there's a fee. It's free, I believe.
No free. It's free. There'll be activities. You will pay for food and things that way, but there'll be activities. There'll be door prizes. I mean, it's not too late to even get out there and register and get some of these caches. We're giving away an ATV for the grand prize. We're giving mountain bikes away. Some really great prizes there.
Yeah, great prizes. So come on out. Again, the Round Valley Dome.
Round Valley Dome on the 8th of October.
8th of October.
Great. So what else we got happening here in Show Low?
We've got events all month long.
All right.
Of course, most people know about the Mountain Music Jubilee on October 15th, 6 to 9 p.m. over at the City Park. Got a couple of really cool bands there, local bands. The Fool's Hollow Band and Thunder Horse will be playing over there. It's absolutely free to come on out, bring a chair, a blanket, check it out. There'll be food vendors out there, and I'm understanding there's going to be a pie eating contest for the kids out there. Different age groups, so it's free to enter, so come on out and register, and there'll be prizes there for that.
So that's just kind of an evening event that they have from 6 to 9?
6 to 9 to sit out on the grass down there in the field and listen to a couple of really cool bands.
Fun. That's neat.
That'll be fun. So. Then coming up Thursday, October 27th, this is for the little guys, kids 10 and under. We call it the Spooky Sprint. It's at Nicholas Homestead Park. It's $5 for each kid to participate. You wear your costume and you kind of run around the track there, and I think they've got some scary people jumping out at the kids. And
that's fun.
Kind of a fun deal. There'll be treats and all kinds of fun things going on out there. So if you want to register for that, you can go to the Show Parks and Recreation Department at City Hall, or you can go to the Family Aquatic Center out at the Deuce of Clubs.
So that's up to ages up to 10.
Up to 10 years old, yeah.
That's fantastic. Make sure your costume has a fast shoe on it, right?
Well, yeah, unless you if you don't want to outrun the spooky guys, then I
there.
guess
Okay.
you're okay then. But then
So it's really not a race. It's just run through it. And
it's
have a good
not.
time.
It's just
Okay.
kind of a
All
fun
right.
little thing for the kids to get them in the Halloween spirit before the actual day, and get them dressed up and
All right.
have some ghouls chasing them around. So that's kind of
Get
cool.
the sugar started. Get the sugar
Exactly.
started.
Exactly. Then Saturday, boy, Saturday's a big Saturday, October 29th. That's a big day here in terms of Halloween type celebrations. We start out with the 7th annual Show Main Street Spooktacular Festival. It's kind of a long-standing tradition here. It's a Halloween themed festival, as you can imagine. We've got a number of things happening all day long. We have Halloween themed games and contests going on. Trunk or treat goes on all day long out there. We've got costume contests, hay rides, car bash, haunted house over at Bilby's Interiors, and then we've got food and product vendors, and we've got entertainment on the stage all day long, starting out at noon and ending up from 4 to 8 with the Fool's Hollow Band playing their brand of, they do classic rock, classic country. So it'll be a fun day. It's absolutely free to come. Some of the activities, there's a nominal fee, and most of those fees go to local charities.
Now, is the trunk and treat all day long?
It is all day long.
It's all
yes.
day long. So
Yes.
anytime you want to come by and get some candy,
Anytime you want to come out, we do have a number of vendors that come in from 5 to 8, the later hours, and we really get pretty packed in there from about 3 o'clock on.
Right.
And so if you've got little kids, it might be a better time for you to come early, and then the older kids typically come a little bit later when it's really crowded in there.
Now, is the area going to be the same area? We're not expanding, going any further down, or is it the
No,
same
it's the
thing
same
right
area. We closed down
Okay.
Cooley between 9th and 11th, and also Festival Marketplace. We have some things in there. We'll have some inflatable rides and things in there, and we'll have some pony rides in there. And then close down Cooley between 9th and 11th, and then also 9th Street from the Deuce of Clubs all the way down to City Hall.
Okay.
And the hayride station is right there in front of City Hall, and it will go around the block, and that's free as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. How can you get involved if you're a business or sponsor, you want to, or you just want to donate something?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. We're always looking for local businesses and organizations, and even individuals that want to participate with a booth or a trunk out there. It's absolutely free. All that we ask you to do is set up a 10 by 10 booth of some sort, easy up, or decorate your car, or whatever you want to do, a tractor, a boat, anything. Bring it out, decorate it up for Halloween. Either provide candy for the kids, or provide some sort of a carnival game or activity for the kids. You're free to promote your business in the process. But that's all we ask you to do, and it's absolutely free to do that. It's a great way to promote your business and give back to the community at the same time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, now you have some bands that will be playing during that time?
We do. Again, we've got entertainment. We've got hula dancers will be at noon, and then the tribal fusion belly dancers will dance at 12:30. And then we've got pet costume contest at 1 p.m. on the stage. That's always a fun thing. Then we've got the All-Star Dance Center dancers will be performing at 1:30. The Power 95.7 Karaoke Finals, again, another favorite, that'll be at 2 p.m. So they bring up their 3 or 4 finalists and they perform on the stage.
That's cool.
Then we have our human costume contest at 3, and we have a variety of different age groups. I believe we have 4 age groups for both male and female, so there'll be prizes for each age group and each gender. And then, as I mentioned, we finish up at the end of the day from 4 to 8 p.m. with the performance by the Fool's Hollow Band on the stage.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So there's something for everyone all day long there. So we encourage everybody to come out anytime and come out often.
Where do we find more information? And let's say I forget the stuff I heard today. Is there a website or someplace where we can go to get more information?
There is. You can go to the Sholo Main Street website. That's www.sholomainstreet, all spelled out, .org. And then on the top menu item, you can click on where it says Spooktacular, and that'll take you to all the activities, all the information. That'll even take you to a registration form on how to register a trunk or a booth out there.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You know, it's always a citizen favorite. They love to get out there. It's fun to watch the little guys just having a great time, and you don't recognize half the people, and so it's okay to just, you have to really do your hair that day. You can just go out there and have a good time.
Right, exactly.
The spookier, the better.
Absolutely. And then the one thing I didn't bring any information, I forgot, but there is the Creepy Carnival. The city's Creepy Carnival is immediately following the Spooktacular from 8 to 10 p.m. over the city campus gym. And I can't remember if there's a cost involved with that, but I think there's a nominal fee that covers food. They could deliver a hot dog and chips and a drink and various prizes that they'll be drawing. This is for the teenagers, so from 13 to 18 can come to this and wear your costumes. There'll be costume contests there as well, and lots of fun stuff.
That's neat. It's neat. Some of the businesses like Bilby's right next there, they've added to the Spooktacular and their haunted house that they have going through there. There is a cost for that, but it's fantastic that he donates his business and makes that available just to make this better.
Yeah, he does it every year. He does a great job out there. There's a lot of scary stuff in there. So if you want to get a thrill, walk through there and get scared, it's a great opportunity. It's a very, very small fee. I think it's $3 or $4 to go through, and all the proceeds there he donates to charity. So Richard Bilby does a great job there.
That's neat. Well, there's a lot happening in October then,
Get
your yards ready, get the kids painted up. It's just going to be a fun activity. And it really doesn't matter what the weather's doing. In the past, I find that people just have a great time out there. You can usually get a hot drink if you're looking for one to warm up, and some people even bring heaters out if they need to. But
they do, and it's interesting. Our food vendors, it ebbs and flows with what happens with the weather. So if we have a coffee or a hot chocolate vendor out there, it may be a little slow if it's warm, but then when it cools off, they get much more active in terms of sales, and vice versa. If we have a shaved ice person out there and it's cold, they're not doing a whole lot. So it's kind of fun. And we've seen all different types of weather out there, from windy, blowing 30 miles an hour, to freezing cold, and snow, to warm at 75 degrees. So you just never know.
And as we talked earlier today in our show, we should have most of the construction area down around that area will be all cleaned up and done, and so it'll be great for people to take a look at that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. They're doing a lot of neat things down here in downtown in terms of the streetscape enhancement down here, and it looks beautiful down here. So yeah, this is a great opportunity to come down and check that out.
We just want people to respect the property, the work that's been done down there too. It's one of those areas that keep it nice. The trees aren't to be bent over and ridden, but at the same time, let's enjoy it and keep it nice for our community.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, Steve, thanks for what you do. It's going to be a scary October, so
it's going to be fun.
Hopefully we can have a great time.
It's always a good time out there.
That's great. Well, thanks for joining us on Inside City Hall today. Have a great day. Thank you.